Hey everybody, I hope you're having an amazing day. This is FC with CappersDirect.com here to bring you guys your first look, sneak peek into this upcoming week of MMA, guys. That's right. We're going to do something a little different this week. We are going to have the week of MMA. If you didn't already see my prior video kind of detailing the announcement, you'll hear a little bit more about it here. But before we get into anything that goes down on April 21st and April 22nd, let's just go down the quick recap of everything that sort of has happened or transpired over the last couple weeks, so you guys know exactly what's going to go down this weekend, and so you guys are aware of what just happened, right? So let's go all the way back to Bellator 293. We had the Bellator fight pick of the year, guys, in which we took Daniel James at plus 130. Now, very controversial, right? In that fight, we knew Marcelo Gomez was going to come out there and was going to possibly look for takedowns, but all week Marcelo Gomez had been telling us, like, I'm going to go out there and strike. I'm going to knock this guy out. My chin is good enough to where I can withstand the punishment, and then I'm going to get in, and I'm probably going to get a late submission, is what he actually said. But Daniel James, man, he worked hard this camp. He was a lot older, but he had that knockout power. So normally when it comes down to like knockout power versus a grappler versus a wrestler, you don't really give credit to the knockout person as much, because the likelihood, the percentage of a knockout actually happening in MMA, like a standing KO, is rare. It's more rare than you think, right? I know every single time we picture a fight and we're like, oh, he's going to get knocked out in like the first 3 seconds, right? That's not the way it really works in real life, right? So we knew that going in. We knew that Marcelo Gomez was going to come out here and strike, and we knew that Daniel James was prepared to strike. Now, what we didn't necessarily anticipate, and why these things sort of get squirrely, is the leg kicks. We knew the leg kicks were there. Marcelo had been talking about the leg kicks, but Daniel James doesn't necessarily check leg kicks, but he was checking leg kicks for this camp. He was coming in anticipation of that. Dude came out and checked no leg kicks. And it's like he forgot everything in camp, which made me nervous and which made us sweat just a tiny bit. I mean, guys, I'm giving you the most confident bet in Bellator of the year, and it's a plus 130. Coming in here knowing both game plans, what ends up happening? We do end up getting our leg chopped down. Everyone's texting. Everyone's freaking out, being like, are you sure? You sure? You sure? Just wait. Round comes about. Whap, whap, whap. Daniel James, winner. KO. Maybe it might have been a little sweaty, but I knew it coming in. I knew that eventually we were going to have every chance in the world to knock this dude out. This dude's been knocked out before. I've seen him knocked out recently. So we had every chance in the world to get the knockout in round 1, in round 2, in round 3, and in round 4. Now, knowing that he was going to take people down later on, that was the scary part. That was the nerve-wracking part. But everybody was extraordinarily excited. The card, by the way, winner. Bellator fight pick of the year, winner. Guys, I have not lost a Bellator max fight pick this year. Not kidding. The whole year. Bellator max fight picks, you might as well just check them off as winning. They just are, right? And then what ended up happening? Let's go ahead and just, since this is sort of like a little mashup, let's go ahead and mash it up. Let's talk about UFC 287, right? Now, I did a UFC KC preview last week. I don't know what happened. I don't know. I threw it out there. All the work had been put in, and the video was supposed to go up, never went up. Don't know what happened. I don't even know. Maybe it did go up. But needless to say, we had 287 in which we went over a little bit about it, and I'll do it here. We had Izzy Adesanya as our max fight pick against Alex Pereira. Alex Pereira, the guy who had beaten Izzy multiple times and just knocked him out recently. Yeah, we went against that guy. Why? Yeah, you would wonder, right? The guy had an injury coming in that a lot of people knew about. He was actually wrestling in camp, and he hurt his hand. And he hurt it more severely than he's going to let anyone know, right? But the thing is that he really thought Izzy was going to wrestle this camp. And in talking with Izzy was using grappling more, but Izzy was working on a specific thing that Izzy does. He calls it like the Matrix. It's like he just gets out of the way of shots, and then he comes up with like these shots where you see his shoulder come up, and he's just like, wow. If you watch how he knocked out Robert Whittaker, you see it there where he backs up and he's like, what? And you don't even think it's that powerful, but it is powerful, right? So he had been working these things, and man, everything that Pereira was doing was falling into the game plan of opening himself up to let Izzy shoot those shots. Now, I will tell you guys 100% Alex Pereira said exactly what he was going to do. And Alex Pereira did exactly that. It was the perfect game plan to beat Izzy. It was been the game plan and the blueprint to beat Izzy before. The thing is that there was something in Alex's camp that was a little bit different. There was a little bit of a not a cockiness, but there was a confidence there that they had beaten him, knocked him out, no problem. And they had this air about them that they had the answer for Izzy. And Izzy was coming in knowing that. And Izzy's like, I'm changing I'm changing things up. I'm changing things up. That's not what he said, but I'm cleaning it up for you guys. I'm changing things up. He's not even going to realize it because he's too worried and he's too busy thinking that he's better than me and he's going to kill me. That, got something for him. And what ended up happening, man, it was sweaty as well, right? We see Izzy get his leg kicked. Man, we've been on these people that have been getting their leg kicks. And so Izzy was hurting. Izzy got hit pretty hard and it immobilized Izzy. But Izzy's game plan the whole time was to eventually get to a spot where Alex Pereira would overcommit. Get to a spot, Alex Pereira, make him worry about takedowns early, but later on, have him thinking that he's getting the best of you and that he can, because Alex Pereira, when he does that, he's almost like, he hits you and it's like, oh, okay, let me see this. Hits you and admires his work a little bit. Oh, okay. Hits you, he has these uppercuts and these hooks that are just like, wow, 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 putting his whole body into it, right? So Izzy was waiting for the perfect time to back himself up and then unload bombs when Alex wouldn't be expecting it, right? And then what ended up happening? Alex came in with a knee that I swear to God, it hurt. It hit Izzy. I thought it did. I was like, man, all that stuff we talked about, all that game plan. But no, it didn't hit him. And if it did, it sort of hit his chest. And he did the right thing. He had been working this game plan. And boy, did he rear back and hit those shots that I told you about. Those awkward ones that come out of nowhere that look like the Predator, that just look crazy. I mean, he's a last style bender for a reason. Knocks out Alex Pereira. We have a max fight pick winner, max fight pick banger. Everyone's happy. I told you guys to jump on the card. And when I do these things, when I tell you guys $10 here, it's not because we're trying to grab money. That's not the case at all. The fact of the matter is we want everybody on it. There's so much work that goes in. So much work that I do over all sports, across all sports. When it comes to MMA, man, I told you guys, we are talented when it comes to sports picks. You guys can go anywhere else, but you're not going to get the kind of information, the kind of analysis, and the kind of insight that you're going to get from us here at Cappers Direct. Now, let's roll into UFC KC, right? UFC KC, I told the company I wanted to do another $10 card. I said, forget it, man. I'm tired. I'm like, yeah, okay, like, don't you see that we're getting more people on these cards and more people are making money and it's amazing? And that's what we're all about. That's what I'm all about. So let's do another one. $10 card, Kansas City, Max Holloway versus Arnold Allen. And let's just do $10 max fight pick. No problem, right? I don't care, man. I'm confident. I'm not cocky, but I put in the work. We put in the work here. There's not another person that's going to put in the work like us. I'm telling you right now. It's not going to happen, right? So I put in the work for this card, $10 card, no problem. We had a top fight pick. We had a fight pick. And we had an underdog. The underdog, Pedro Munoz, they were the money was coming in on the other side. I mean, people were getting nervous, texting me, being like, "Are you sure? Like we're getting close to a sweep here. Are you sure?" And I was like, stick to the process, baby. And Pedro Munoz came in there way more prepared than a lot of people knew. I'm telling you, I unloaded on Pedro Munoz, and Pedro Munoz won that fight, right? That was the underdog. It was like plus 170 or something at the close. I think we put it out at plus 160. We had Bill Algeo. Bill Algeo got down to minus 180. I think we put it out at minus 185. I was so confident in Bill Algeo. We made him the top fight pick. We just said, dude, just put your money on Bill Algeo. It's just going to happen. He came in super prepared. And in that fight, there was moments where it was a little weird. It was a little sweaty, right? There was moments where Bill Algeo was like getting hit a lot harder than he normally gets hit. Now, he had a little bit of a weight issue, but it wasn't going to be as bad as I guess a lot of people were looking at. Some people look at people on the scales and like they look at someone that just looks like death, and they like, oh, we're going to fade that guy, right? He looks like death. Guys, I have seen that guy. rehydrate, eat the proper things at night, come back stronger than ever, put on crazy amount of weight, but the right kind of weight, and then come out there and just steamroll someone. And then I've seen that person that you're looking at weigh-ins and you're like, dang, they look better than ever. Dang, they're in shape. Dang, they have an iron chin, but with this shape, it might be unbreakable. Dude, just chiseled. Best weight cut ever. Followed him in camp. And you're like, damn, like, this dude's gotta win. Like, he is shredded. He put in more work than I've ever seen him put in before. Shredded. On a scale. He's under by like 2 pounds, right? Tanner Boser. What happens, right? What happens? That person goes out there. The person you're like, oh, they look amazing. Versus the person who doesn't look amazing. And no puedo. That's what ends up happening. No puedo. The young gun, the skinny guy gets knocked out in 60 seconds. The guy who was in shape, the guy with the iron chin, the guy who had never been knocked out before. I mean, things in MMA happen. It just happens that way. So Bill Algeo didn't have the best weight cut, but his recovery was pretty freaking on point. His recovery was pretty awesome. He did a good job. This camp wasn't perfect, but I had faith in Bill Algeo. I have faith in his game plan versus the other guy. And what happened? Bill Algeo got that submission, baby. Bill Algeo. And in the write-up, I even told people, Bill Algeo's telling me submission, guys. I didn't even bet it, but I wish I had bet it. Because Bill Algeo by submission, I'm sure was a stupid plus number. And there were a lot of people being like, thank you for those write-ups. Now, I figured that was one of the ones y'all are talking about. Because I gave you a top fight pick. And I gave you the method in which he was going to win. No one thought he was going to win by submission. I did. What happened in the write-up? Boom. In there, Bill Algeo, top fight pick. And then what happened, guys? I said, forget it. I said, we're going to go ahead. There was going to be no way that I was going to let this go by. Max Holloway was going to be the max fight pick on this night. Money was pouring in on Arnold Allen, like stupid money. Like, I get it. The kid is special. Max beat him, but there were things in that fight that after talking to Max was a little bit surprised about. And we will be looking into that moving forward, right? A lot of people look at this performance and think, oh, Max Holloway is the best ever, right? Pero por qué? Pero por qué? Why is he the best ever? Because he just beat Arnold Allen. But guys, he got hit a little bit harder than he got hit before. Now, it does concern me, but I wasn't worried in this fight. There were a lot of people in this fight that just saw Arnold Allen coming over here and steamrolling Max. Like, there were people telling me I was stupid for having this Max fight pick. There were people out there the line was like minus 170. I think we put it out at like minus 160. The money just kept coming in on Allen. And I had no idea why. I was looking at Max. I was texting everyone, his manager. I was texting his nutritionist. I was texting a lot of people in his camp. Like, what's going on? Like, this number it's not moving the direction I thought it would. But I trusted the process and I said, forget about it. I told the company, $10 max fight pick, $10 card. We're going to kill it. This card right here, we're going to murder this card. And what did we do? We murdered it. Max Holloway ended up getting the job done by unanimous decision, guys. And that card, UFC KC, was one of the most profitable cards that we had all year. Before that, one of the most profitable Bellators we had was also in this stretch. So, guys, we're doing something a little bit different. This week, we're doing the week of MMA, guys. We're previewing a little bit of every card, but realistically, I've been doing these $10 cards and everything, and the company has been obliging me, right? I don't know if it's going to continue. I don't know if we're going to keep doing the $10 cards. There's a lot of work that goes into these things, and so I didn't care, guys. This weekend, the week of MMA, the week that I've been highlighting and circling since December, the end of December, beginning of January, definitely by the middle of January, when I took a trip to California to preview some of the information that is going to be going down on these weeks right here. Yeah. I knew, and I circled it, and I said, this is going to be the week. Now, we had been doing these $10 cards, and I told the company I wanted to do something special, and they's like, you know what? Just do it. Just do the $10 card. Look, it's on you this weekend. We're just going to give it to you. And then I told them, I said, but I got more, guys. I got a lot more. I mean, this weekend's going to be lit. This weekend is going to be on point, guys. I'm going to let you know right now. I'm just going to go over just quickly, just tap it a little bit, right? For Friday, we have Bellator 294, Liz Carmouche versus Bennett 2. $10 card, $10 max fight pick, right? Not done there. We have the max parlay of the year that goes down this Friday in Bellator. Bellator 294. You guys are going to want to get that. You're going to want to get all this. Trust me. I'm going to let you guys know right now. You're going to want to get it. But then we have Saturday, guys. What happens on Saturday? We have another UFC. And then we have another Bellator. What's going to happen? Bellator, $10 card, $10 max. I don't care. The whole weekend, baby. $10 card, $10 max. Get on it on Friday, get on it on Saturday, and then the big UFC event. UFC Vegas 71, guys. $10 card, $10 max fight pick. Again, doing it for you guys. But then we have the UFC fight pick of the year right here on April 22nd. UFC fight pick of the year goes down for $50. For $50, you guys can get the max parlay of the year that's going to hit on Friday. And then for $50, you're going to get the fight pick of the year that goes down in the UFC also for $50. $10 card, $10 max on everything this weekend. $50 for that max parlay of the year, $50 for that fight pick of the year, guys. It's a steal, guys. I'm telling you right now. Anyone who's been following us just this year, follow us just this year. We went on a stupid run of like 17-2, 18, 19-2, or 19-3 when it comes to max fight picks total. Like, we haven't lost a max fight pick in Bellator all year, hitting them all. We went on a stretch last year where we hit almost like 14 or 15 in a row. Guys, we have the best information out there, okay? But no further ado, guys. This is a little different, right? The recap is taking a little bit more time than normal. The fact that we're putting it out there, we have so much work to do this week. The work has already been done, but we have more work to do. So this week, instead of doing like a first look preview of breaking down the main card fights for all three events, let's just highlight some of the fun fights and let's try to highlight maybe some of the main events. Let's just talk about some of these cards in general, okay? All right, so let's get into that first event that goes down. Bellator 294. We're going to do things a little bit differently. I'm going to talk about the main event, and then maybe we'll talk about some of the other additional fights on the card. So let's get into it. It's going down in Hawaii, guys. We have Liz Carmouche versus Diana Bennett in the main event, and we're going to look at the Liz Carmouche side first. Liz Carmouche is 39 years old. She is a big favorite. She's a big favorite for a reason. She's the champ. This is a rematch from 2020 that when Liz Carmouche ended up getting a submission on Diana Bennett, right? But Liz Carmouche is 39 years old, right? Liz Carmouche is getting older. Liz Carmouche is starting to slow down just a tad bit, right? Look at Diana Bennett, though. Diana Bennett's 38 years old. Diana Bennett's not this crazy young prospect coming out. She's a solid fighter, and she is on a little bit of a win streak with those Justine Kish fights. She ended up showing a lot. Really proved to me that a fighter that is well established and is almost seen as a person that, hey, they're always going to be that mercenary. They're going to be that person. They're that person that is the gatekeeper no matter what. Diana Bennett was sort of that person, and she broke out of that when she decided to train differently and do things differently, but she's still getting older. Like, even though she's adding new tricks, she's still slower, just a tad bit slower than before. She's a better wrestler. She's better at grappling. So the question really is, I mean, so in the end, like, Liz Carmouche is favored because she's beat her already. She's like minus 350, minus 375 by now. She's the champ. She's coming out here with a lot of momentum, a lot of people in the crowd. She's got power. She's got the grappling edge when it comes down to submissions, right? And so I can see where the third round submission came about before. I can see maybe this one, another late submission, maybe fourth or fifth, or even going to decision. I do worry about Diana Bennett's cardio. She's really taking this camp seriously, guys. I kid and I say she's getting slower and she's just as old, but she has gotten way better. Like, you can't take that away from her. She has shown the ability to win fights, but why? I mean, I just don't understand why Diana Bennett is getting this title shot. Like, I guess, not a lot of people are there, are in the wing ready to go, but I mean, Liz Carmouche is ready to go. She's 39. She thought she would be able to get this championship. She really did believe it. I mean, there was a time there where not a lot of people believed it, but she really believed it. Now she just really wants to solidify this run. She wants to just solidify herself in Bellator and just in the history books. So Liz Carmouche is ready to go. They put this out here. I think Liz Carmouche takes it. I think Liz Carmouche might take it in the 4th, maybe the 5th round. So you want to look at the over 4.5 rounds. You might even want to look that this fight goes to decision, but I wouldn't be surprised if Liz Carmouche pulls out a 4th round submission to kind of upset everyone. But I mean, it can be a good fight. And Diana Bennett, I mean, I just don't really see her being a live dog. Now, I do have a theory that not a lot of people share, by the way, that Liz Carmouche is more chinny than she's ever been before. I do have a theory that I do see Liz Carmouche getting caught and getting rocked and getting dropped. Now, she has the wrestling prowess. So, like, even if she gets a little bit hurt, she normally just grabs the legs and ties people up, and she has a double leg from hell. So, you know, the question is at that point, I mean, she might get rocked here. I doubt it in this fight. But in the future, she might get rocked. But does she get that wrestling position? That's going to be the tough thing. Right now, I do see Liz Carmouche losing in the future, but I don't necessarily see it in this fight. But let's look at some of the other fights on this card. So it's an interesting card overall. There's only 9 fights. The reason why there's 9 fights is because the next day on Saturday, I mean, it's like a mega breakout Bellator card. So I mean, they're culminating the tournament. They're doing a lot of stuff on that card. We're going to talk about that in a minute. But 9 fights, they wanted to do a bigger event, and they thought that they could carry it. And so they had a couple other fights on this card, a couple other ones on the next one that, you know, stuff happens. And so we've had UFC fights that had nine fights in them. But some of these are really competitive, like Tim Johnson's versus Syed Salma. I mean, that's going to be a striker's delight. We know we have a smaller heavyweight in Salma and Saeed. Tim Johnson's a big heavyweight Tim Johnson is a product of his camp. If he has an amazing camp, he's gonna do okay, if not win. If he has a horrible camp, then, you know, maybe he comes out and gets knocked out in the first round. But, you know, Saeed's not the person. He's not known for his knockouts. He's known for more dancing around the ring and shooting, you know, hitting and being more active, but more counter striking. So I don't necessarily see anything happening there, but I think it's a really good fight. And then you also have Sarah McMahon coming out of the UFC fighting Arlene Blancow. I mean, Arlene is a striker by nature. We've seen what Sarah McMahon could do, but we've also seen Sarah McMahon. She's older. We've seen Sarah McMahon get rocked. And for some odd reason, there's something about that woman's cardio that, like, there's sometimes she's on it. And when she is on it, she can run through people. But then there's points where, like, she gets a little bit tired, and then people end up hitting her a little too much, and then she looks like she quits a little bit. I hate to say that. I mean, Sarah McMahon's a silver medalist in the Olympics in wrestling. Like, she's not a quitter. But I mean, and I may be reading it incorrectly, but needless to say, maybe it's just her gas tank. Maybe it's just an injury. Sometimes she's been injured a few times, especially when she loses. She's been injured a few times there. So maybe that's the answer. But I think it's an interesting fight in which, I mean, you have a powerful striker versus a wrestler of the caliber of Sarah McMahon. We've seen this sort of play out before. Sarah McMahon's known for getting these takedowns and winning, but I mean, anything can happen. And then we have the loudmouth. Danny Sabatello is back. The wrestler, the guy who still thinks he should be in the tournament, the guy who thinks he should be the person who won that last fight, even though it was kind of, I don't think it was controversial. I think Danny, man, he got really close. I mean, he's still pretty upset over it. So he's coming out here to make an example. I mean, this card has Tyrell Fortune on it, who's a big Bellator name. It has names, and it carries enough weight so people are going to tune in, and so bettors are going to be able to make some money. And we're going to be able to make some money on this Bellator 294 event. And don't forget, guys, we have $10 card again. $10 card, $10 max fight pick, guys. And for this event specifically, these 9 fights, guys, we have the Bellator max parlay of the year. Goes down this Friday, guys. Grab that package right now. But let's get into your next event. All right, so let's get into your next sneak preview. It's going to be Bellator 294. Now, this one goes down on Saturday. Also coming at you from Hawaii. But we're looking at the main event first, and then we'll go over some of the little fights. We have Rafion Stotts versus Patchy Mix. This is going to be for the tournament championship, guys. This is going to be for $1 million. Both these fighters are very hungry. Now, there's one fighter who I believe is hungrier than the other, but let's look at Rafion Stotts first. Rafion Stotts, 34 years old, a little bit older, but he's a world-class wrestler. He is a great wrestler. I know he's been knocking some people out, and I know a lot of people have seen some of his fights, and they don't they don't really see a wrestler, but he is a world-class wrestler. He will take you down repeatedly and keep you down. He has that ability. He's 5'7", a little bit longer, 72.5-inch reach. In the end, I kind of do see Rafion Stotts sort of pulling it by decision, but let's talk about Patchy Mix. Patchy Mix is a really good friend of mine, guys. I love Patchy Mix, love his family. Love his significant other and everything that they do. They work hard. Patchy Mix works hard. He is a world-class grappler, guys. People bring Patchy Mix in order to replicate those long limb people that just have sneaky submissions. Patchy Mix is the man when it comes to getting people into tight locks and submissions that they're not used to. Very long legs, very long reach, and just does things a little differently. He's one of those people that just is kind of, I mean, he's almost like a pioneer in a sense. He's doing things differently. He's learned some of the lessons and learned his cardio issues and really learn what to do in order to fix those things. So don't get it twisted. I do see Rafion Stotts winning this by decision. I see Rafion Stotts being smart, being the better striker and not allowing Patchy Mix to drag him down, and then sometimes tying up Patchy Mix and then get popping back up. Rafion Stotts don't want to play with Patchy Mix on the ground. The thing is that Patchy Mix is always live for that submission. He's always live for something crazy. But man, I just know Stotts isn't going to submit. You're going to have to put him out or break his arm or break his leg. So it's going to be difficult. It's going to be hard, especially when there's $1 million on the line, guys. These guys have strategies out the wazoo. It's very hard to find holes within a camp that both fighters are fighting for $1 million, unless you have like a big hole, like a fighter's hurt or he's just not motivated, something along those lines. But normally when these fighters are extraordinarily motivated, they put their all into the camp and you really don't get the full edge. But in this fight, I'm really close to one person and I know him personally and I need to see something this week. I'm just going to be honest with everyone. I know Patchy Mix but I need to see that Patchy Mix has put in the work to put a person like Rafion Stotts to the ground. I want to see those things, those little tricky things that people are doing now in wrestling, those little things that Patchy Mix should be able to implement here. I need to see if he's got those things down, drilled enough to where he's going to go to him. Now, if that happens, then the pick may end up switching to Patchy Mix. But as of right now, I do like Rafion Stotts by decision, guys. But let's look at the card further. I mean, it's a good card. It's stacked, 13 fights. You have Rafion Stotts versus Patchy Mix. You have Alimale McFarland versus Kana Watanabe. I mean, that fight in and of itself. Alimale McFarland, she's talked about retirement. I don't think she's ready to retire. I think she kind of ran into some adversity and some issues But she's motivated for this camp. I think it's going to be interesting. We have the return of Aaron Pico off of an injury, I believe, versus James Gonzalez. I mean, that's going to be a banger of a fight. Ray Borg, ex-UFC fighter, he went over to Asia, did pretty okay, mixed results. Overall, he did good. He comes in. And now he's fighting in the main card versus Horiguchi, who we know Horiguchi is a beast. Horiguchi is a great fighter when it comes to standing, and Horiguchi doesn't get taken down all the time. He's very hard to take down. And Ray Borg in this fight, we already know he wants to go just straight wrestling. He wants to go for the takedown. You have Yancy Medeiros in this fight versus Charlie Leary. I mean, Charlie is a stand-up guy, boxer, chin not fully all the way there anymore, but is good. I mean, the guy is 17-13 because he's exciting. And then we know Yancy Medeiros. This is another guy who's 15-8. Yancy Medeiros is from Hawaii. You know what I'm saying? Yancy Medeiros is coming in there to swing bombs. I remember watching a fight with Yancy in Hawaii. I think it was in Hawaii. Yeah, and man, he showed up to the party. He showed up. When he, and sometimes in California too, because he did some training out there with the Diaz brothers, so Sacramento, and so yeah, sometimes, man, when he's around his hometown, his home crowd, Yancy Medeiros can be good. Yancy Medeiros outside of that though, you put Yancy Medeiros in Toronto, Yancy Medeiros getting knocked out. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it's gonna be bad. But Yancy Medeiros in Hawaii, he probably real good. You know what I'm saying? And then you have Mads Burnell coming back. Mads Burnell's going through a little bit of a time right now with himself. Mads Burnell has really shocked me with how motivated he seems, and then in talking, and then when you see it in camp, you're like, all that talk, like, where is it, right? And then you see it in fights, and you're like, I thought Mads was better than this. Like, you're better. He is better than some of the things he's been performing at. But, I mean, you have Kai Kamaka. We know that's a UFC reject turned Bellator. I mean, he's a good fighter. I mean, he swings hard. He just, man, there's some fighters that have it, the power. They have the right reach, or sometimes it's just a technique thing. They learn to punch a certain way when they were a baby or a kid, and that has transformed into now they turn a certain way, and next thing you know, they have power and they have a unique fighting style. Izzy's one of them. We talked about how he just comes around and does certain things. Alex Pereira, the way he just rocks hooks. I mean, some human beings are just built different and do things differently, right? I mean, Kai Kamaka just wasn't necessarily gifted with all those different things. He's just a really solid fighter who plays the part well. But you get another solid fighter who plays the part well sitting across from Kai Kamaka. I mean, it's gonna be a close fight. I mean, it's gonna go to split. You might as well just bet that by split decision. Well, in this fight, he's going up against someone that he should be able to beat, but someone who is on the up and up. I mean, this fight overall, guys. I mean, you have Weber Almeida, who's a little bit older. You have Bobby King on it. I mean, it is a great card from start to finish. And guys, don't forget, again, $10 card, $10 Bellator max fight pick. We haven't lost one this year. I'm just gonna let you know that right now. Okay, but that's going to be your Bellator 294 preview. Let's get into that big UFC card. All right, so let's get into that last event, guys. We have UFC Vegas 71 coming at you from the Apex. We have Sergey Pavlov versus Curtis Blades. Let's look at Sergey first. Sergey has an 84-inch reach, a little bit longer than Curtis Blades. And at the end of the day, man, Sergey is just a wild dude. Like, he's going to come out here and he's going to swing big. Like, before, man, I was watching Sergey fight, and I remember the guy was like bad. I mean, on the ground, he was bad. And on the feet, he didn't really throw that much. Yeah, I mean, it was a long, very long time ago. But he's a wild man at the end of the day. He goes out there and he swings big. We saw him. How many knockouts does he have in the UFC now? Every time I've been like, man, I think Sergey, man, he's not that good. He's not that good. And he's changed his mentality. And I've heard it before from a ton of fighters. He's a fighter that actually went out there and did it. He changed his mentality. He's way more aggressive. He likes to come out, strike big, and knock you out. Just what he does, right? And who's he going up against? Curtis Blades. You know what I'm saying? Curtis, 17-3. Curtis Blades, the guy who only loses to radical wildman power punchers. That's all. That's all Curtis Blades loses to. Francis Ngannou. That's the person Curtis Blades could lose to. Derek Lewis, a person that Curtis Blades could lose to. Those are people that Curtis Blades loses to. Curtis Blades is one of these fighters who's really, really good. But if you can fight a technical fight with him, if you can get someone who's technical in front of him, Curtis Blades tends to do pretty okay standing, and he will stand with those people. The other thing is, like, Curtis Blades really does believe in his stand-up, and he is a very methodical person. He's a wrestler through and through. The guy is a phenomenal wrestler, probably the best wrestler in the heavyweight division. But he has been working his hands, and because the way he got to be the best wrestler is because he can drill and he can learn. He's very, very intelligent. I know you may say he doesn't sound intelligent and he stutters and all these different things, but the guy is smart. The guy comes up with pretty good game plans. Not the best conspiracy theories, but pretty good game plans, right? And in talking with Curtis Blades, I mean, he knows that he can learn and be technical. So with those technical guys, he will stand up and he will land and he will knock out people like Chris Dawkins. He will knock out some people. He will do that. But man, he struggled against these guys that are just humongous, that he knows I have to go for a takedown. And they know he has to go for a takedown. And they just come out and just swing big. Just wow. Just go crazy. So the formula to beat Curtis Blades, who's a phenomenal heavyweight, probably number one contender in the UFC, 17-3. The guy's a killer when it comes to wrestling. He gets you down. You're going, like, he's going to bash your head in. You have that guy coming out here going up against a guy who on the feet would murder him, kill him. I mean, literally, it's going to be, can Curtis Blades wrap his arms around Sergey quick enough? Is he going to be able to do that? Because if not, you have a guy who's going to swing big against a guy who loses to people who swing big and are that wild style. So you have the perfect fighter to beat a really great, amazing wrestler. Kind of difficult. It's kind of difficult to pick Curtis Blades in this spot. Curtis Blades has been one of these people that you're like, okay, path to victory, easy. Get him down to the ground. It's over. Same thing here. Same thing. And then yet in those fights, you're seeing a Curtis Blades who gets knocked out, gets finished, gets hurt. And the last time he got knocked out, it was bad, guys. It was, I'm pretty sure you can see me there. I'm pretty sure you can. Yeah, I think you can see me there, but it was like, and it was like, I don't know if they cut, I can't watch it again. I don't know if they went to commercial, but man, Curtis Blades got knocked out bad. And so, I mean, he's on a little bit of a win streak. I mean, 3 fights, and he did fight a very good striker, but a really three good strikers, but those strikers are very technical strikers. So I think that's why you're going to see Curtis Blades favored. But man, that wild style is what Sergey Pavlovich does. And that kind of thing, I mean, that's what beats Curtis Blades. So I can't see putting money on Curtis Blades on this fight. But at the same time, how can you not like his skill set versus that of Sergey? We know Sergey on the ground is like a fish out of water. We know that he's going to be down there flopping. Curtis, and he has gotten better. I will say that. I can't just say that he's going to be like the past Sergey. I mean, he's gotten better, but I mean, he's nothing compared to Curtis Blades and what Curtis Blades can do. So I have to favor Curtis Blades. Currently, he's a pretty decent favorite. Not humongous. I don't think he's over minus 200. Last I checked, he was minus 170. And man, I can see a lot of people betting on Sergey by KO because that's how he's going to win if he does. He's not going to win this by decision. Might as well just bet the KO line. Don't be that person. The KO line's probably the same price as whatever the underdog price is. Hell, the KO line might be worse. I mean, who knows? It's stupid sometimes, some of these lines. I'm just kidding. But Curtis Blades, I favor Curtis Blades. But let's look at the rest of the card. I mean, we're doing things a little bit differently, right? We're going to look at the entire card. We're going to go ahead and, because there's 3 cards and there's this huge sale that we're doing, we're making this the grand UFC MMA weekend. We're going to do it big this weekend, guys. I just wanted to do it big. So Bellator on Friday, $10 fight card, $10 max fight pick. We also have a $50 parlay piece that you're going to want right there. Friday night Bellator. All right. Saturday, you have another Bellator event. $10 card, $10 max fight pick, guys. I'm doing the $10 thing. There was a ton of people on it. And really, realistically, the money thing, like the company deals with all that. I don't care about all that. I care about the numbers. I want to make sure that there's a million people making as much money and being as profitable. And that can, I mean, it's so exciting when you hear someone be like, I bought a car because of your fight pick of the year. Or I did this, I did that. I was able to go on vacation. I was able to pull myself. And those stories are the reason why we do this stuff. So, I mean, we're talented, so we might as well provide you guys with the service, right? We might as well provide you guys with what we have here. And so I'm telling you guys, jump on it because we're going to have in the UFC additionally, after that Bellator card, $10 UFC card, $10 max fight pick, and then the big one, guys, $50 fight pick of the year is going to go down. It's going to go down on Saturday, guys. It's going to go down in the UFC. It's going to be a winner, guys. We're going to have a great time. But let's look at this. Enough of that, right? Let's look at the whole card. I mean, we have Brad Tavares, guy who isn't known for getting knocked out, going up against Bruno Silva, guy who's known for his knockout ability. I mean, in retrospect, Bruno Silva can be submitted, and he can be hurt himself. We have Bobby Green versus Jared Gordon. Jared Gordon, who, I mean, we picked Jared Gordon against Paddy Pimblett, and you go back and look at that fight. I think Jared Gordon won. Now he's going up against Bobby Green, and they're making him a huge underdog. It's kind of crazy. And looking further, we have Jeremiah Wells back. I mean, he's another great fighter. Ricky Glenn's back. I mean, guys, this card in and of itself, looking at it, Priscilla Cachoeira's back. I mean, come on. she's so beautiful. It's so good. This girl is good. But needless to say, guys, I mean, Cara Rosa's back versus Norma Dumont. That's a great fight. Ton of great fights on this card now, guys. If you like this kind of content, be sure to give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and make sure to comment down below MMA for this humongous UFC, for this humongous MMA event that's going down this weekend, for this humongous MMA sale that we're doing, guys. Go back and check out the video where I talk about the sale. Go back and check out the last video that I talk about the sale and the huge announcement, guys, because I'm telling you guys right now, April 21st and April 22nd, it's going to be a great day to win, baby. Let's get it.